U.S. Virgin Islands right now, St. Croix, and boy, oh boy, is that a beautiful scene. You got the blue water, you got the blue sky, you got lots of sunshine. And this time of year, it's questionable whether you want to plan that tropical vacation, right? In the Atlantic, you can get huge storms this time of year, but it hasn't really happened this year for your tropical update in the Atlantic. In any case, we're going to be following the latest conditions for the tropics. And you know what? By far and away, it is the Pacific that is the most active for the tropics. So let's take a look at everything that we're watching. Starting off across the Atlantic, we'll get back to here, but there's not even anything circled on the map. That goes to show you how quiet it actually is. Meanwhile, we've got Hurricane Rachel near the Baja, and we also have another area to watch here in the Pacific. So those are two areas of concern. And we're going to start off with the best formed system in that area, and that is Hurricane Rachel. Currently winds of 80 miles per hour, moving north-northwest very slowly at this point at about 6 miles per hour. Sometimes the shape of the clouds can give you a clue as to what's about to happen with the movement of a storm. And you would want a perfectly round system and kind of fanned out high clouds. That's not happening here. Instead, it's squished down. It's over very warm water temperatures for now, but look to the north. All these extremely strong upper level winds are blasting on through to the north, and that's going to actually be stopping this system, stopping Rachel from going north. It tries and then kind of dips back down towards the south. So that's something to watch carefully, although it's not going to be coming towards land. Speaking of areas to watch, Bonnie, we've got this one off the coast of Mexico, about a 60% chance of development, and nothing going on in the Atlantic at all.
Okay, that's good. Well, you know, we're taking a live look at Northport, New York. That's on Long Island on the North Shore, home of the Cow Harbor 10K race, which was last Saturday. I ran that race a decade ago. It was so much fun. You're going to have great weather on Long Island today. In Islip, you've already passed the record high. You're going up from there, so it's nice to get a little taste of summer in late September. Will it last, though? Looking at the temperatures right now across the New York area, it's already warmed up to 78, as I mentioned, in Islip, but at JFK, it's pretty warm, too. Hempstead, Hofstra University, you're looking at 81 degrees. Wow. So temperatures for today will be climbing certainly into the upper 70s, looking good as we go through much of the Northeast. I think we'll enjoy some nice conditions there. And for today, we'll look for highs near 80 as far north as Burlington, Vermont, 81 degrees. So some great looking weather. Will we shatter those records? I think the answer is yes, because we're so close to those record highs in Albany, Hartford, and even Concord, New Hampshire. And to me, that's always the cold spot on the map, so it's nice to see it warm. The pattern continues where we have a cold front moving to the southeast, but before it gets there, that warm air surges into the northeast. Eventually, though, the cool down comes in, and you'll feel it more intensely into northern Vermont and Maine, but overall, it'll be a gradual cool down for areas in the northeast. I think that sounds good. So tomorrow, temperatures are into the upper 70s for New York City, 77 in Binghamton, and 78 in Pittsburgh. By the time we get to Tuesday, there's the cool down, getting only to 62 in Boston, so that's a little bit closer to normal. By the time we get to Wednesday, we'll stay right in the 60s in the New England area, and then kind of end things there by the middle of the week. So, it's, you know, that's the way it is in the Northeast. You get a little bit of warm up and then it's gone.
Yeah, you know, this time of year you can see a little bit of everything, but there's so many outdoor festivals going on this time of year. You just have to rely on crossing your fingers for the good weather, right?
That's true. Usually this time of year we get good weather for our festivals, and this one, I mentioned Vermont earlier. What great weather for the Burke Fall Foliage Festival. It almost seems too warm to enjoy the leaves.
Yeah, although the leaves are going to be perfect, so if you bring an extra bottle of water with you, you'll be fine for that one.
Absolutely. Well, we're definitely looking at some other festivals that are happening around the country, so good weather into Vermont as well.
Yep, you know, coming up next, we're going to be stepping aside for a little bit. The weather geeks are going to be sliding on in.
They're talking about the super outbreak of April 27th, 2011. We'll be back with you in just 30 minutes.
Stay tuned for that show, and we'll be back right after it.
Currently in our area, 85 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy with isolated thunderstorms possible. High 86. Chance of rain 30%. Tonight, cloudy intervals, low 76. Winds east at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome to Weather Geeks, and I'm so thrilled today to have James Spann, Chief Meteorologist at ABC 3340 in Birmingham. Look, he's got a list of awards. I can't even list them. There are too many, and he's from the legendary Weather Brains crew. It is just an honor to have you here with me, James. Thank you for joining us.
It is my pleasure. I'm delighted to be here, and being on the same set with you, Dr. Shepard, this is a treat.
Well, you know, look, one of the things we wanted to do here in this show, I mean, you're known throughout the Southeast, and the April 27th Tornadic event was an event that really set the stage for our ability to learn more about warning the public. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that particular event. It was a travesty and a devastating event.
I call it generational. Actually, if you look at climatology in my state, in Alabama, we had these about every 40 years.
Right.
The analog is the super outbreak of 1974, but on that date, April 27, 2011, in my state alone, the tornado count was 62, the death toll was 252. And let me just say up front, that number is inexcusable for anybody in the weather enterprise. It doesn't matter what you do, if you're in research, if you're in operational meteorology, if you're in the academic world. We should not accept that.
Absolutely.
I know at some point there'll be a time to celebrate some lives saved, but the only number that matters to me in that whole event was 252. And what I learned is the fact that I'm not as good as I think I am. What happened, the physical science end was wonderful.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, from the meteorology side, the models, the science, it was spot on, right?
It was a well-forecast event. You couldn't draw the high risk any better if you knew what was going to happen the night before. It was forecast days in advance. And the warnings, the short-term warnings were excellent. So on the science side of it, it was done so well. But this is, I think, our failure. So many of us, and I'm in this group, we've had no training in communication.
Absolutely.
I come from an engineering meteorology background. I've not taken a class in human behavior and how to reach different types of people groups. And so we had to get in there and go to work.
Right.
I wanted to know, why did everybody die, all 252. We've got the information back. We've gone through a lot of this, and we know so much now that will make us strong.
This on Weather Brains, you've dealt with this in AMS conferences. I've heard you talk about it. I'm really curious about what was the most frustrating aspect of the event for you.
Well, we had a lot of issues. You know, part of our problem, Marshall, it's hard to deal with multiple tornadoes that look like that at the same time. Do you discriminate against somebody because they live in the country? If you've got one coming through a larger city like Tuscaloosa or Birmingham, what makes a human life less valuable? So there's not a manual on how to do that. And part of the other problem we had was we know now we've got to get a live camera on as many tornadoes as we can.
And by the way, James's coverage is legendary. Look, his coverage of this event should be 101 in any broadcast meteorology class. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to set the stage here, showing you some of your legendary coverage. Continue.
Right. What we've learned, and you're seeing a debris ball on television.
Yes.
For those of us in the science world, we see a Hooke echo and a debris ball and reflectivity. We see a velocity couplet. We see on the new dual polarization products, on the correlation coefficient product,
yes,
this tornado debris signature. We didn't have that back in 2011, but we have that now.
Absolutely.
What we've learned is that as strong as we try and communicate that, people see a bucket of spill paint. We have to be better in the broadcasting world of getting cameras on tornadoes. They will respond to that. And I also don't think, Marshall, based on the research we've seen, people don't understand storm-based warnings, polygon warnings. We've got a problem. We don't warn by counting.
Some people probably don't even know what a polygon is. I mean, first of all.
Right. It's a geometric shape.
Right.
but we don't warn for entire counties.
Right.
Tornadoes are small and counties are huge. And I've had this saying for years, respect the polygon. If you're in it, do something.
That's correct.
And if you're not, you don't have to worry about it. And I've seen large cities that are going through tornado precautions and taking action where they're not even in the warning. So we have to communicate better how these storm-based warnings work. And also on April 27th, we learned we didn't reach a lot of people groups. Marshall, we didn't reach some lower income families. We didn't reach Hispanic families.
Yeah.
And shame on us for not being better at that.
But I want to deal with that because in some of the research we've done over at University of Georgia, we found that there are disparities in that as well. But what do we do? I mean, do we need multiple language feeds? I mean, how do we address that problem?
We've been speaking with some Spanish language experts, and one of the keys we know is Spanish radio stations, getting them involved. They can take what we do on television, translate on the fly, and put that on a commercial radio. We have to have those kind of partnerships. We have to have partnerships with various, commercial radio is a very important part of these type events. Power goes out. We had 250,000 people with no power that day, so establishing relationships with different formatted radio stations that reach different types of people on a day like this. But in my opinion, Marshall, the death toll this day in my state should have been 30. 222 people should be around today. One of our problems, too, is the false alarms.
Yes.
We have way too many, too many in the weather enterprise. At the time this happened in my market, the Birmingham Weather Service, the false alarm ratio was about 80%. But to the credit, they went back to basic science. They've responded to the challenge. Jim Stefkovich, Kevin Laws, the SUE, the Science Operations Officer, little things like LCL heights. How many tornadoes have we had with an LCL height above 1,000 meters?
Right.
None.
Right.
So why issue a warning if you've got a high-base thunderstorm? And they've gone back to basic science. They've cut that sucker in half. So the false alarm ratio has come way down because one of the constant things we heard, I hear warnings all the time and nothing ever happens.
Yeah, the cry wolf syndrome. That's a big issue in warning throughout our enterprise. Now, we've got about 30 seconds left. In sort of summing it up, if you could take 2 points away from that event for future events, what would it be?
Number one, we have to get more cameras on tornadoes.
Okay.
We have to quit showing as much radar and get cameras on tornadoes. And we have to communicate effectively, which means for a television meteorologist, we have to be on the green wall making eye contact with the viewers. Okay. You can't hide behind the equipment. That is very important and a very important part of how you communicate weather.
Thank you very much. And we'll talk more about that later in the show. Ahead on Weather Geeks, this photo was the longest traveled debris found in research conducted at my university, University of Georgia, and it holds the record for the longest documented tornado debris trajectory. So how far did it actually fly? The answer is next on Weather Geeks. But first, our Geek of the Week. John Brown, who's an engineer and amateur storm chaser. John says he's interested in hurricanes, but has never chased one. How did he ever capture video like he did in Tuscaloosa? This was some of the most amazing footage out there. It was seen all over the place. John Brown, our Geek of the Week.
In the nation, the safest feature in your car is you. Add Vanishing Deductible from Nationwide Insurance and get $100 off for every year of safe driving, which for you shouldn't be a problem. Just another way we put members first, because we don't have shareholders. Join the nation.
Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide.
Nationwide is on your side.
The Dueler tires on Terrence Knighton's truck are engineered to be Bridgestone's best SUV tires, and now they have an 80,000-mile tread wear warranty.
Guess we're gonna be here a while.
First time on a treadmill?
What are you saying?
I'm just saying.
Right now, buy 4 Bridgestone tires, including the Dueler HL Alenza Plus, and get a $70 Bridgestone Visa prepaid card by mail. It's game on with Bridgestone at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
7 a.m. on AMHQ.
Let's get you in front of today's weather.
The biggest weather hour anywhere.
What a gorgeous start.
Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel. Every Sunday,
A new tale of weather legend. American Supernatural. Premiering October 5th on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 85 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy with isolated thunderstorms possible. High 86. Chance of rain 30%. Tonight, cloudy intervals. Low 76. Winds east at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
On AMHQ.
Let's get you in front of today's weather.
The biggest weather hour anywhere.
What a gorgeous start.
Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm on it. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You're covered, Kevin.
Thanks, Melinda.
I have blah blah insurance, so person, come help.
Hey, Grandma. Dad, look who it is.
I see who it is.
6 callers ahead of us, Jimmy.
You're not helping.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. There to help you anytime, anywhere, anyway. That's getting to a better state.
Toaster strudel. More fruit in the filling. Yeah? Yeah. Warm, flaky, gooey. Toaster strudel.
Now with more fruit.
There it is. This is where I met your grandpa. Right under this tree.
Some things are worth holding on to.
They're hugging the tree.
That's why we got a Subaru.
Was it that tree?
Introducing the all-new Subaru Outback. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
So what you hear there is a tornado siren. Now, it's 2014. We have cell phones, smartphones in our pocket. Are these tornado sirens the best way to warn the public of impending danger? James, what are your thoughts on tornado sirens?
The siren mentality, it's killing people. Why in the world are we using World War I technology in 2014? You can't hear them inside a building. You can't hear them in a studio. You can't hear them in a school. You can't hear them in a church. You can't hear them in a business. And yet it seems like most of the population thinks you're going to hear one of these things. You cannot. You should never, ever rely on these things. I am so frustrated. I want to climb these poles, take the stinking things down and burn them, and that way you know you won't hear one.
Right.
But they do serve a purpose.
But what I was going to say, I mean, I'm with you, and I've got some thoughts on this as well, but what's the alternative?
Well, they reach a limited number of people outside, so let's leave them up. But we have to tell people you've got to get away from them. The baseline, it's a weather radio.
Right.
Is it new technology? No. But it works. It works very well. Every home in a tornado-prone market should have one. Number two,
what about the apps? I mean, the weather warning apps?
We think people should have 2 layers, two ways of getting warning, because anything can fail. Weather radio can fail. The smartphone apps are marvelous because they know where you are. With that GPS chip, with a tornado warning, if you're in the Polygon, you get it. And if you're not, you don't. They work beautifully. So weather radio, smartphone app, those are the 2 layers that people should have. We had a 16-year-old girl killed in my market in the pre-dawn hours, January of 2012.
Yes.
Beautiful, precious girl. Her name was Christina Heichelbeck. The family thought they were going to hear a warning siren. That mentality cost the girl her life. and I will fight this until the day I die. I don't know why it is in this nation we have this mentality of sirens. We've got to stop that. It's killed too many people, and we've got to move on.
Yeah, and you know, James, even some research we did at UGA, we even found that the way the sirens are distributed, there are significant parts of the population, some of the underserved communities that are not even in earshot of the sirens.
Right. And again, what about people that live in rural areas?
Right.
You know, you could spend $1 trillion and still cover a fraction of the land that we serve in tornado-prone markets. So, yes, leave them up, but understand they reach a few people that are outdoors. If your family thinks they are going to hear a siren, you've got a problem. You have no hope during a situation like this, an outbreak. So weather radio with batteries properly programmed, and if you can't program it, take it to somebody that can. And people that watch your show, they're weather geeks. You can program, most people have weather radios, right. But you tell your friend. This is your challenge. If you're a geek watching this show, you tell your friends and your neighbors. Weather radio, smartphone app. Exactly. I'm not going to recommend apps. There's a lot of good ones out there, but be sure it's a warning app designed for warnings, not just the generic apps.
I'm sure you deal a lot with the public policy makers and emergency managers. What are some of their thoughts on the sirens or other methodologies for warning folks?
Part of the problem, Marshall, a lot of the emergency managers, they've been over the years getting grant money to put these things up. And at first they kind of clutched on this notion of criticizing the sirens, but they're beginning to understand it. After April 27, 2011, you can prove that people died thinking they were going to hear a siren. They never knew the tornado was coming. That mentality is starting to kill people. So what we have to do, and again, it goes back on us, we have to do a better job of educating Joe Q public. Sirens cannot be heard in your house.
Right, yeah.
They can't. So go get a weather radio. And a lot of cities are doing some grant money where they have subsidies, where they're very low cost, some giveaways, get it programmed. And if you have a smartphone, get it there.
Okay, so I knew that I wanted to get that in. So next on Weather Geeks, University of Georgia researchers have used social media and debris found on social media and returned to the site to determine some really interesting things about the April 27th tornado, the track, etc. Next on Weather Geeks.
Take a deep breath in and exhale. And a gentle wave-like motion. Liberate your spine. And reach. Toes blossoming.
Not that great at yoga.
Yeah, but when I slipped a disc, he paid my claim in just 4 days.
4 days?
Yep.
Find out how fast Aflac can pay you at Aflac.com.
Can you start tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Let's share the news tomorrow. Today we're fairly busy. Tomorrow we're booked solid.
We close on the house tomorrow.
Want one of these opened up? Because tomorrow we go live, everybody.
It's a day full of promise. And often, that day arrives by train.
Big day today? Even bigger one tomorrow.
When CSX trains move forward, so does the rest of the economy. CSX, how tomorrow moves.
Be one with it, and it will be one with you. Be one with your tires, and the road will be one with you. Hankook Tires.
Break the ice with breath-freshening, cooling crystals. Icebreakers.
When we say the all-new Chrysler 200 is all new, we mean it. We used the latest tools and built a new state-of-the-art manufacturing plant. We gave it new smart technology. We challenged conventional thinking with a more intuitive design. And we set new expectations of what an American sedan can be. The all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
Monday morning on America's Morning Headquarters, we've been warned against drinking seawater, right? But that's exactly what one county in California is preparing to do. Could this be the answer to the water crisis out west? Join us.
Run with the Marines. Join us October 4th for the Jacksonville Marine Corps Half Marathon and Freedom 5K. Proceeds benefit many veterans charities. Run the beautiful route along the St. Johns River and historic Riverside Boone Park. Family and friends cheer as you cross the finish line under 2 giant artillery pieces. Stay for the fantastic post-race celebration and mementos for all entrants. Team competitions welcome.
No
matter how much I loved my mother or my sisters or my wife, none of that mattered because they always came second to heroin. Everything did.
I didn't know at the time the power that the drugs had over him, and I was so afraid of losing him, and I knew enough about B-Hop, and I knew what they could do. To me, it's amazing. It's almost like I wish somebody would pinch me and make sure that, I'm not dreaming.
If someone you know is struggling with drug or alcohol addiction, please call or visit us at interventionnow.com.
No interest for 12 months. So call 888-4CHAMPION today, because every home needs a champion.
Mondays, only the Weather Channel takes you this far. Inside a hurricane. Hurricane 360, Mondays at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees, under mostly cloudy skies. Today, tonight, partly cloudy early with increasing clouds overnight, low 76. Here's our 7-day outlook.
A very strong tornado vortex signature coming right toward the Tuscaloosa area, and it's just updated there. Oh boy, it's right on we have a debris ball. There's one of these debris balls that we've been talking about, and extremely strong damage is being done in Tuscaloosa at this time by a very strong tornado with debris being indicated on radar.
So when we have tornadoes, debris is distributed many, many miles away, and in some cases up to hundreds of miles. A recent study out of the University of Georgia by Professor John Knox and colleagues actually used a Facebook page that Patty Bullion, a regular resident of Alabama, pulled together to help the public recover their treasured goods. Now, in past years, much of that debris likely would have faded away. People would have never recovered their valuables. But thanks to Patty and her effort, she was able to pull this together into a website. And John and his students actually, James, took the information from this website, were able to backtrack and learn some really interesting things about the trajectories.
This is a brilliant study.
Yeah.
Dr. Knox, this is great information we all can use.
Yeah, it's really amazing, because one of the things they found is that some of it was a record in terms of debris. I think they found some debris that had actually been transported 220 miles away from its destination, ended up in Lenoir City, Tennessee or somewhere.
And you can see in that graphic debris from Tuscaloosa, personal papers, high school portraits, prescriptions were found near Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Right.
And that is remarkable. And again, that is a sign of the lofting process of how debris is lofted and carried aloft for many, many miles.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about that is as it gets lofted, because as we know as meteorologists, the wind is changing speed and direction, wind shear, and so what we found is some of this debris, actually the longest transported debris, can be up to 200 miles away and slightly to the right of the path of the tornado itself. They found some of this here, the Lenoir City, 220 miles away, slightly to the right of the storm. So this is not just academic egghead research. This has applications if there is hazardous or biological or radiological debris in this field. This is useful information, but kind of coming back out of that a little bit, how is social media valuable, not just in this regard, but in terms of warning the public as well?
Well, it's changed everything. It's a two-way conversation now. If I need a report from a very rural part of the state, I can get it on Twitter. I'm blessed where a lot of people follow me. I don't know why, but...
please, we know why.
I don't know why.
We can see it in this episode, right?
But that Span Twitter account has been invaluable at getting information in. People's eyes are so crucial, as you know.
At Span on Twitter, by the way.
At Span. At a great distance, the radar beam gets higher and higher and higher. We know what's happening within the radar beam, but what's happening at the surface? We've got to have trained eyes, or at least eyes, to look at this stuff, and so we get information back. Pushing information out we're still learning how effective that is. We know that it reaches a lot of people, but yet there are limitations, especially with Facebook.
Absolutely.
And their filtering.
Yeah, Facebook, you can't get really much in real time anymore with Facebook.
Facebook is a rotten way of getting weather information because of the filtering process.
Right.
There are algorithms that filter what you see, and it also determines the timeliness of what you see. Twitter works very well. Google Plus works very well. But it is a marvelous tool to where I feel like I'm in partnership with thousands and thousands and thousands of people during severe weather outbreaks, and I get photographs. I get so many photographs. If I need to look, I can look. It's almost like a doctor getting an x-ray. I can look to see, do we have a wall cloud? Are there striations? Is there a rear flank downdraft? And that enables us to confirm tornado warnings. It enables the Weather Service to maybe hold off on issuing a warning. There's no funnel. There's no tornado there. There's a wall cloud. Let's hold off and watch it. So there's no doubt it's made the warning process better, the reports and the pictures.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, and I'm a big social media proponent as well, not just from the standpoint of information, but also warning the public as well. So thank you very much for joining us. Weather Geeks, we have a special treat for your weather geeks out there. Many of you posted questions for James Spann on Twitter and Facebook this week, and he has answered them. Those video clips just went live on our Twitter feed and Facebook page. Check them out and leave your comments and share with your weather geek friends. We'll see you right back here next week on Weather Geeks.
This is a pip.
It's part of a Hershey's bar.
We break it.
We bite it.
We sneak it.
We smush it. We savor it.
We love it.
Hershey's is mine. Yours.
Our chocolate.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that playing cards with Kenny Rogers gets old pretty fast?
You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. What? You get it,
I get the gist, yeah.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Remember the hassle of vacuuming before the Dyson DC-59 Motorhead? Before our direct drive cleaner head increased brush power to out-clean the 5 best-selling full-size vacuums across carpets and hard floors without the hassle of a cord.
Am I missing a deadline? Will I get there in time? Am I going too fast? Did I close the garage door? Stay in your lane. I don't think I sent that email. I should make a reservation. I thought it was clear. Okay, break. I didn't see that coming.
Its instinct to protect leaves you free to drive. Lease the Infiniti Q50 for $339 a month. Visit your local Infiniti retailer.
I'm MARY, and I have COPD.
I'm JEFF, and I have COPD.
I'm LISA, and I have COPD. But I don't want my breathing problems to get in the way of hosting my book club. That's why I asked my doctor about BREO.
Once daily Brio Ellipta helps increase airflow from the lungs for a full 24 hours. And Brio helps reduce symptom flare-ups that last several days and require oral steroids, antibiotics, or hospital stay. Brio is not for asthma. Brio contains a type of medicine that increases risk of death in people with asthma. It is not known if this risk is increased in COPD. Brio won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden COPD symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Brio may increase your risk of pneumonia, thrush, osteoporosis, and some eye problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking Brio.
Ask your doctor about BREO for COPD.
First prescription free at mybrio.com.
Some people think vegetables are boring. But with Green Giant's delicious seasonings and blends, we just may change their minds.
Green Giant.
You're going to want to watch 7 a.m. on AMHQ.
This is a big weather morning.
The biggest weather hour anywhere. What you watch in the morning matters.
Is your weather geeky this morning?
Make AMHQ your morning show. America's morning headquarters. Weekday mornings starting live at 7 Eastern on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees, under mostly cloudy skies. Today, sun and clouds mixed. High 86. Winds east-southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy early with increasing clouds overnight. Low 76. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Tonight, the Weather Channel asks, so you think you'd survive black ice? So you think you'd survive tonight at 9 on the Weather Channel.
And welcome back to Weather Center Live, and take a look at this. This is flooding that happened in Utah yesterday at Zion National Park.
The National Weather Service did rate this park as a high risk for flooding yesterday, and sure enough, a lot of those canyons and dry washes filled with water quickly. Nearly 2 inches of rain on Saturday. Well, welcome back to Weather Center Live. I'm Bonnie Schneider in for Kate Parker.
And I'm Mark Elliott, and hopefully you enjoyed that episode of Weather Geeks. Lots of social media talk, and we're jumping on the bandwagon too, right? We want you to show us what you're up to using the hashtag #YourWeekend. That way we can get your photos and live vicariously through you.
And Mark and I have been tweeting it out and putting out Facebook feelers, and this is one picture that we got to see in Rocky Mountain National Park from Rex Bell, and you can see the fall colors, Mark, looking fabulous.
Yeah, what an absolutely amazing scene there. You know, we wish we had an amazing scene in the Southwest. Unfortunately, it's desert deja vu, right? We have the potential for more destructive weather. And joining us on the phone is Brian